A look at the interwebs. Apple, such a big day yesterday. New phones, new gadgets, new watches. But there are certain things about this new iPhone, including a new way of paying for things.
A new way of paying, Alex. And buried amongst all the headlines was this little nugget. Apple announced their Apple Pay system. And this is really interesting because a lot of people have been trying to find a way to let people pay with their phones for a long time, but nothing is taken off because they're only available in a few stores, only available with a certain credit card, only available with a certain bank. And Apple yesterday announcing a way to sort of bring all of that together. So the interesting thing here is that it will work with the iPhone, with the Apple Watch, and it uses your fingerprint, your Touch ID, in order to transmit data to the retailer, but your credit card number, your name, that never gets seen by the cashier because it just uses the tap and your thumbprint. So it's really interesting, and it's got a dedicated chip in the iPhone called the Secure Element where everything's stored. So privacy seems to be paramount here, and it will be only US only at launch, but still, this makes me think and want to crunch the numbers here. Here's Dr. Evil, $1 million. But
Thank you for that explanation.
But look at the interesting thing here is that Apple's going to get a cut now. Because they're in charge of a lot of the fraud prevention, they're taking a cut and they're going to bring a lot of people into stores. I'm just crunching the numbers here. A year from now, if they've got 100 million people using this, spending $250 a month, because it's not only going into the store. Using your iPhone, you'll be able to use Apple Payments. On the web, eventually, you'll be able to use Apple Payments. Uber, Starbucks, a whole bunch of stuff. Now, look at that, $250 a month, that's $300 billion a year. Now, if Apple gets a 0.3%, so less than a third of 1% cut, that comes out to $900 million. Not much. Now, let's go forward now. 5 years from now, let's say, 500 million users who are spending $1,000 on their credit card a month, which is, a lot of people spend $1,000 a month on the credit, a lot more. That's $6 trillion a year. And if they get that cut, we're up to $18 billion. And now your mind's going to get blown. Let's go back further in the future. Let's say they get 1 billion users, and people are using this for everything. They're putting everything on their card because it's so easy, it works well. If you crunch the numbers, that's $90 billion a year in Apple's pockets for doing nothing, for just making things simple. So I know what you're thinking. Whoa, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Go work at Apple?
No. There are a lot of competitors out there. It's not like Apple's going to have this space up to themselves. Who else could get in this space and compete against Apple? Because that's going to be a lot of money that people are going to want to get to. So look at Amazon. They make their own hardware. They've got a phone. They've got a tablet. They're a retailer. But you know what? Their phone has been a flop, so they don't have that. Look at Google. Google's very big as well. But they don't make their own stuff. Google doesn't make any products, and they've got trust issues. And if we look at Microsoft, who should be in this game, they make hardware, but they're not doing anything with it. They make all this hardware. They're not doing anything with it.
Are you comparing them to eating paste?
Yes,
right
I
now?
am. I'm comparing Microsoft to eating paste. And then PayPal and Square, they're probably too small in that instance. They would partner with Apple. So this is going to be the big play. I know we focus on the watch. I know we focus on the phone. But yesterday, for me, the biggest thing is payments and how we're going to pay for things in the future.
The money's in the payments, literally.
Yeah. Money is in the payments, and this is bound to be copied if it works.
Oh, absolutely.
Could Samsung do something like this?
Well, Samsung's interesting because they don't they'd have to partner with Google on their wallet service, right? So Samsung doesn't own the whole pie, whereas Apple's been able now to hardware, software with the retailers, everything with the banks in a circle. Samsung has to do a lot more work in order to get a competing service.
All right. Thank you, Elias.